hope everybody's doing okay. It's been close to 2 weeks since the last recording of my video. Well, I did just finish the editing for one. It did take me a while between the time of recording to get the next one out. But as of today, at the time of recording, as of right now, it's Thanksgiving morning. So depending on how quick I get this out, I'll pretty much get the answer to how I've been feeling. I've been having a terrible last 5 days or so. The last couple months have been extraordinarily hard on me, mentally and physically. I can assure you that, thankfully, I'm not dying. My many minor health conditions that add up to what I'll consider a very hard life are probably getting worse. Um, but anyways, I hope everybody's having an okay Thanksgiving. I'm not gonna condemn the holiday. I'm not gonna openly support it either. While it's definitely is not soaked in as much evil as others, you can't really um you can't really get out of the pagan traditions of it either. But I'm not gonna act like I alienate myself from it either. Anyways, I want to go back a little bit and talk about how one of the most influential doctrines really got started, because most people know about what's known as the Hegelian dialectic. At least people that study these kind of people or aspects of life have heard of it, but they don't really know the person behind it. And this is going back a little bit further than I wish, but after this, for at least a while, primarily, it's more, it's more videos about people that you can say is of more recent events in the world. But George Wilhelm Fredrick Hegel, while he's famous for, primarily only famous for the Hegelian dialect, he was a German philosopher and idealist. He had some odd claims, like he claimed that he had information that there was a planet between Mars and Jupiter, which there could be, I suppose, but they're not planets like people think. There's no stepping onto them, even if you can get there. While they are different than a regular star, they're nothing else than just evil spirits. But other than his dialectic, he had a pretty boring life. He was a headmaster of a gymnasium. He was inspired by Plato and Aristotle. For some reason, all these people take an interest in these ancient Greek philosophers. I've never understood why. I don't know what people really see in those type of people. Even young people today, for some reason, still enjoy the writings of people like Plato or something, and they don't realize that those were the original people that had these ideas for a one world government, or a new world order, a one world economy. They just didn't use the terms. Um, he rejected metaphysics and transcendentalism. I'm not gonna explain what metaphysics is. I mean, as I talk about it, that's where people should know. Transcendentalism is basically where you get transcendental meditation from, which is a very dangerous act. It's basically the act of emptying somebody's mind so they can achieve states of higher consciousness to make the metaphysics work. And but the way that but using that technique to make the metaphysics work it's being controlled by an outside source, a deity, a demon, or by worse, something like some type of fallen angelic being. While I don't believe that metaphysics is bad, because because almost every more well-known person in the Bible um applied metaphysics to their life. Um, it would be kind of like heretical for a Christian to claim that metaphysics is evil. That's why I don't. It depends where the source is coming from, because none of us can do it purely 100% by ourselves. Rather people know it or not, any form of metaphysics is coming from an outside source. The important question is if it's some type of entity, or if it's the God, the creator of the world. And he believed in natural law and decided to be a Lutheran his whole life. So a lukewarm denomination, and which typically does believe in natural law. And that's the problem with most of these churches or these so-called Christian organizations. They believe in a natural law, but at the same time, they believe in a very supernatural book, which is the books of the Bible, and even more so, the manuscripts that were removed from the King James Bible, but are just as much scripture. Which I would, in my opinion, I would say those lean even more towards a supernatural doctrine. And about 300 years later, or close to 300, it's still, this doctrine has still very much carried over. I would say probably just as much or possibly even more in the modern day. The vast majority of Christians still believe in this natural law, while they claim to have faith in a supernatural book. And the God that they say that they serve is definitely does not meet what is known as natural law. Now, now George William Fredrick Hegel was a Rosicrucian and Freemason, and he was a member of the Illuminati. Oh, I don't know when he joined. I know that he was. And for people that don't know, I want to break down what the Hegelian dialectic exactly is. While people aren't really familiar with the term in any mainstream circle, they'll be familiar with the technique. So, when there's something that a group, specifically a government, wants to achieve, what they will do is they will create a problem that's that's known as the thesis. Then they will give the people a solution to fix the problem. That's the antithesis. Then the solution that they give the people will also in turn give them a way to complete what they wanted out of it, which is the synthesis, which most problems have been created by whoever is running things at the top of the pyramid, wherever in any major country. Now, real quick, I'm gonna go over just who all this is specifically influenced, because there's really not much more to say about this guy. And the more important videos are coming after this. He heavily influenced Freemasonry and Rosicrucianism, and I would say any of the political, financial, economical bankster organizations of today. They still use the Hegelian dialectic. Specifically Karl Marx, Albert Pike, the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn. Um, so it's like Samuel Adele McGregor Mathers, William Wynne Westcott, um, Robert Woodman, Aleister Crowley, W.B. Yeats, Bram Stoker, um, Arthur Conan Doyle, and just so on and so on and so on. Everybody that was in the Golden Dawn and influenced the Theosophical Society, Rudolf Steiner, the Illuminati, and I would say certainly all major governments of the world wherever you live, as long as it's not some third world country, and even the third world countries usually have some type of royalty, or they're living like royalty, whether you know it or not. They've probably all at some point have used the Hegelian dialectic to get what they want. It's a means to an end. And while the guy claimed to be Christian, you have to look at the fruits that he bore, which was terrible. And like I said, there's really not much to say about this guy. It was more the doctrine that I wanted to get out than the man. And Lord willing, I continue to feel better so I can get the more important videos out soon. Have a blessed day.